Hey everybody, this is Electra. I am a recently transitioning male to female, autistic, major depression, anxiety, and probably bipolar. And welcome to my channel. This is 100% unmasked, authentic video of me and what it's like to see that. I guess my goal is to just show what it is like for autistic people so they either don't feel as bad about themselves and hopefully build up an awareness that just because we communicate differently and listen differently, maybe that that's not a bad thing. There are pros and cons to everything in life, and including communication styles. And a diverse way of doing that can only be a positive in the long run if you know how to use it. That's my view. So it's a really nice day here today. I went on a pretty long walk outside, even though it's about 25 degrees Fahrenheit. At now I'm about 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Got a nice pair of black leggings that are fleece lined, so perfect for winter. And yeah, they felt great. Really enjoyed walking around in them. They weren't like super hot because at 25 degrees, one clothing layer is not going to be able to do that, but I didn't really want to be super hot either since I was walking. But my legs were definitely cold by the time I got back inside about 15 minutes later, but that's okay. It's a Tuesday afternoon. Not a whole lot to talk about, I guess. The wildfires in Los Angeles seem to, I don't know, they're not really getting better, but they're not really getting worse, it seems. So we'll see what happens, I guess, on that tonight. That's when they seem to have the news conferences of the California authorities. What else? Exploring financial aid options for going back to school as a, to get a cosmetologist license in the state in which I reside, which is Missouri. And hopefully I get some, because like obviously no one wants to pay like the full retail price for a program if they can help it. And we'll see. I had to fill out two, one for 24-25 and then a second one for 25-26. That's for the period of June 2025 and on from there, which this program would entail. It's going to be about a year. If I start in like March, I should be done probably sometime in the spring of 2026. But it all depends on when you get 1,500 hours of training, I guess. I'm not sure. I can't imagine that's all like classroom. I'm sure most of it is like practical, hands-on, cutting hair, doing things for doing any hair coloring, anything that you would do in a salon as a stylist, and which is good. Definitely don't want to be cutting a live person's hair for the first time when you're being paid by them. As that, I mean, that's true for any field of work. You definitely hate to be thrown out to the wolves, which is basically what most jobs do these days. Training on the job is like basically a joke in every job I've had, unless it was federally regulated, as in the case of airlines and aviation. Then they have to comply with certain hours, they have to cover certain topics, and then you have to take a test afterwards too to make sure you earned it. But any customer service, lower income, unskilled, quote unquote type labor, they're not required to. So of course they're not going to waste their time and resources, especially these days when every company is practically operating on a skeleton crew of essential management, basically no one in the middle, and then like a relatively small force of like entry-level people that they can just pay nothing to and keep the operation going. So yeah, but I'm basically realizing that this job market right now is not for me. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but it's, I just feel like I've been through this dog and pony show a few times over the last 15 years where I've been looking for a job, and every time it's been worse than the previous due to maybe, being a little bit older. I find that the experience I've accrued never really paid off later on when I was looking for jobs again. Like, it just, ideally this experience you accrue in certain jobs like should help you get another job in the future that's hopefully a little bit higher up in level and more pay. But for me, that hasn't worked, whether that's due to all my issues I described in the beginning. I can't say for sure, but it seems to be a common occurrence with people like me. So I have to think it's very much partly responsible. I've always had a problem like just talking about my skills in a way that sounds appealing to potential employers. It's like not really in my nature. For me, it's more like maybe I just, it's hard to brag. I feel like you gotta basically brag to convince like job hiring managers that you actually can do something. And for me, it's like, you'll see when you hire me what I can do, but of course no one's going to take that chance unless you can somehow convince them verbally or non-verbally during the interview that you're somehow the right one for them. And I've never had a great success rate of doing that. So I'm thinking like I probably was never really meant to work for someone else. But the problem is I didn't really ever have a skill set that would allow me to do that and be relatively prosperous. So I'm hoping like cosmetology, even though you're going to work for you're going to work at a certain salon, it's sounds like you kind of are a contractor and you can you pay like $200 a month to rent a little stall, I guess, in the salon, and then it's like your little private business, and you can basically set your own hours, but they find you the customers, or you can find them yourself. But I assume like that's what their receptionist is for, and the people at the front of the house. And I don't know, like I can see it being cool for me because I think I want something that is just a good solid skill that I can offer to people if and when this economy collapses. Because I already can tell like I'm not really hireable in my current state in my career. I'm just kind of like between the two levels of entry level and like upper leadership or management, and whatever I need to raise up to that middle level, I don't really have, or if I have it, it's just such a competitive age group to be in, or like mid career level is so competitive right now because of just that was like the first group that really got hollowed out during COVID and just never came back. And that's like exactly where I should be in my career right now, in my mid 40s. I'm like too experienced for entry level. I need way more money than entry level, but there's really nowhere to go, and I'm not competitive enough to get the few middle jobs. But I don't even really want those jobs. Like I don't want to work for a major corporation. But let's focus on what I do want. That's a little more positive. So I do like working with my hands, so I think I would like that aspect of working as a stylist and how tactile it is and how you can see the fruits of your labor right in front of you multiple times a day. Every time you have a customer, you're going to see your work and you're going to see how happy the client is, hopefully. And I can just see that being very satisfying because every job I've had, like, you kind of get that, but he's not in my current job. My current job now, it's like I don't feel like I'm benefiting anyone in the actual community, you know? Like, I feel so isolated from the local community and my job because we're serving people that don't live here 99% of the time. So I do my job and I leave and I'm just like, okay, I didn't get a whole lot of satisfaction from that. Yeah, I'm good at it, but I like, I guess I want more than that at this point in my career. I want to feel like I'm helping somebody with something by doing something I'm good at for them. Hopefully something there, that I could kind of express my creativity in, because I am an artist, haven't painted in like 5 years now. I painted a lot summer 2020, but not much since. And so I feel like, that's a part of my life that I miss as far as using my hands, and creating, knowing and having that satisfaction and getting good at a certain skill. How much money I can make at it, that's who knows. That's what I'm kind of concerned about. Or like, I'm pretty sure I can get a job someday, but how much am I actually going to make? But again, like what I was saying about having a good, hard, tangible skill to use in this, what I think is clearly it's a declining economy in terms of the number of jobs being offered to the workforce. The workforce is clearly way too big for the amount of jobs that are currently required by the companies at this time. And it just seems like it's a shell game of what it used to be. It's like half of it's just a shadow of its former self. It was bad enough 10, 15 years ago, and then now it's just like impossible. And I have more dignity than subjecting myself to this as it is. I've been in this situation before, as I mentioned, and I'm not gonna suffer through this again just to end up taking some retail job. And so it's kind of where I am. I'm gonna tour the Paul Mitchell School in St. Louis on the 23rd of January. And if all goes well and I feel good there and I feel like it's a place for me, a place where I can flourish over the next year when I'm there training and learning, and I'm leaning very heavily towards doing it and just see where the chips fall. At least it's something new and different, something to keep me feeling alive, because I don't know if it's just me, but in my mid-40s, I'm feeling like I'm dying more often than I'm living or advancing, let's say. And it's not a good feeling. I'm way too young for that. I'm way too young to feel like I'm done and I'm being put out to pasture, which is what I feel like this current job market is doing to a lot of people, and many way more qualified than I am. Well, gotta make a phone call soon, so this will be a short one today. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. Please, nice comments only. But I would love to hear from anyone who watches this, and if you have any comments, I'd like to hear. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.